that I know. You're hurt and you can't let go. It's not your fault and you don't deserve all the bad and the hurt. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. All your life you've tried to be a good man inside. Did everything that you thought you should. Didn't seem to do you any good. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch Therapy. That was a very ominous bumper there in the beginning with the cult of the hummingbird, but this is a very kind cult here. We have some birds behind us. Today is hump day, so I'm helping you get over the hump. Who can tell what day it is anyway? I mean, it's one long Groundhog Day. Yesterday was Groundhog Day. That's when Puxatawny Phil comes out of the ground, looks to see his shadow, and then says, oh my God, it's still going on. Went back inside. So hopefully Puxatawny Phil is in his burrow right now, watching some Lunch Therapy, catching up on what's going on with the humans. Speaking of humans today, we have some humans in the chat room. We have Loretta Greenberg. Great to see you, Loretta. Chuck Goldsmith. Vernus Clear. Beautiful. Yeah, they're beautiful birds. I'm kind of obscuring the birds today. But Cody music is so soothing. Yes. So Cody, I've been having a lot of his music in the beginning of the show. He's really a fantastic musician. Vernus says the clowns have arrived. The wolves are on their way. Yeah, I wanted to say that. We're going to do a show coming up maybe next week with some wolf rescuers. Some people that are really working on the wolf situation because there are a lot of people, I don't know, not taking care of the wolves. And one of the things we do at this show is we appreciate animals, birds, mammals, fish, octopuses. Yes, it's octopuses, not octopi. So anyway, we're going to get on with the show. We got a really exciting show today. We're going to see a lot of animals. We are going to see the bat is making an appearance on the show today. So he's very excited. He's in the green room now. He's kind of rambunctious. He's a little tired because it's middle of the night for him. Let's get on to the show. Lunch Therapy, number 208. I'm gonna get myself a modem. 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 All right, this is the part of the show where we breathe. A lot of us don't breathe enough. We don't take in actual air. We breathe very shallow. I tend to do this, especially when I'm all excited or nervous or something. I don't take the air fully in, start to feel lightheaded. It's not good for you. So in through the nose, out through the toes. The first breath. Hold it. And let it go. Today I was going to talk about something called anosmia. I don't know if anybody has heard of this, but I had never heard of it before. A couple of years ago, all of a sudden I couldn't smell very well. I went around to all different ear, nose, throat people trying to figure out what was going on. They gave me all kinds of sprays and things to put in my nose, and they put stuff up my nose looking up there to see why I couldn't smell. It seemed like an anomaly. And they called it anosmia, and I thought they were kidding. And then they would send me a huge bill. In through with the nose, out through the toes. Which is sometimes what doctors do, unfortunately. Let it go. They give you stuff, doesn't necessarily work. And then you are like, then you have a bill that comes, even if you have insurance. It's the weirdest thing. Here in the United States, maybe some of you are in other countries where you don't get the gigantic bill afterwards. I don't know what other service there is out there where if they don't provide a solution, you still get a gigantic bill. You should not have to pay if they can't fix it. Not that they can fix everything, but if they can't, there should be some incentive for them to fix your ailment, right? That's what I think. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. This is a kind of a break, though, from all the anosmia that's going on in the world, because now anosmia is a thing that a lot of people have. A lot of people can't smell because they had COVID, and we don't like to talk too much about COVID on the show, so we're not going to talk anymore about anosmia. We're going to get on with the show. I've got some chipmunks for you to look at. All right, so it's Wednesday. Wednesday's a weird day sometimes. Today we have the bat, which is great. He's so gracious to be here. He's going to do his top 11 advanced Zoom techniques. Yeah, who knew the bat was so good with Zoom? But apparently he knows a lot. And it's sort of a tutorial that he's doing for us. So we're very grateful to have him here. But right now, I'm going to show you something that I found on Instagram. And I just, thought you'd all would enjoy it. It's chipmunk. There's a chipmunk, and people always say, hey, you got chipmunk cheeks. Now you know why. Because they could stuff all those nuts in there. This is from a guy called Brad. He feeds chipmunks in his yard, and he's gotten so into it that he has 14 chipmunks that he feeds, and he goes around and he has to find them because chipmunks don't like you to know where they live. They're like celebrities. They don't, they want to hide. And so they hide. And and they run out when Brad comes. Holy daddy-o. Yeah, Jose is here. Great to see you. It's Groundhog Day again, I know. Yesterday was Groundhog Day. Matt's here. Great to see you. This is good. Egret. Must have been a bird that we had there. That's our bird expert. Niel. Some of you don't know how to pronounce Niel's name. It's Niel. Clowns versus wolves in a head-on grudge match. Yeah, we're going to have that probably next week. This week, on Friday, we're going to have Steven Rosenfield. Hopefully, if all goes well. And he is the guru of comedy, the master of comedy, wrote the book on comedy. And we're going to interview him on Friday. Clowns riding wolves. I want to see that. Loretta says chipmunks versus squirrels. Yeah, squirrels and chipmunks, very same. We're going to have to break down genus, family, all these different things because I don't know, but they're very, very much related. In fact, chipmunk, I think, means red squirrel. If you go to India, the squirrels there look like chipmunks. So chipmunks and squirrels, pretty similar. If you need a 3D representation of a chipmunk, you can go to Google now has 3D representations of animals where you can move them all around. And you can even use enhanced reality to see them in your environment. What's the difference between chipmunks and squirrels? It's a good question. Chipmunks and squirrels, we're going to have to really get specific about that, but they're very similar. Very similar. Chipmunks sleep up to 19 hours a day. Yeah. They're very, very sleepy. Very sleepy animals. They sleep probably more than cats. And then they hibernate. So they hibernate during the winter. They really know how to get their sleep on, I'll tell you. And let's see. Okay, so we're moving on now. We've got the bat coming. I got to get him from the green room. Somebody Boney, could you get Bat from the green room because the Zoom techniques are coming up. Matt Wright says chipmunks look like they are gluttonous, but they're actually contributing to their savings accounts. Yes, and actually they're good for the ecology. What do chipmunks do? They take the seeds of the plants and they spread them all around. And they store their nuts all over the place, and they're super cool. And we love them. We love chipmunks here. What is a group of chipmunks called? That's a good question, right? What is a group of chipmunks called? If somebody could Google that for me, I'd appreciate it because I'm sure it's good. Usually it has to do with the first letter of the name, I think. Does it? I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to get the bat in here. I'm just stalling because the bat is taking a while. I think he went to the restroom or something. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but scurry of chipmunks. Seems kind of weird, right? Scurry of chipmunks. I like it, though. The other day we had the marmots on, a group of marmots. It's called a madness. Speaking of madness, Sven de Kock is here all the way from Belgium. He loves the bandana. Thank you very much. Bad hair day, I guess. I always say the bandana, when I wear it, helps me keep my head from exploding. And I think that does happen. Because, lunch therapy is can be stressful for the host. It can be. Group of chipmunks, a scurry. Thank you, Matt. Haha, I beat you to it. Well, I had the advantage. Okay, so now let's get into this. Top 11 advanced Zoom techniques starring the bat. Hello, I am the bat. I, had a little trouble. I'm just not used to being awake at this time of the day. I'm usually in my cave sleeping. And so I had a little, it's just a little irregularity I guess. So, it took me a while to get myself together. You know how it is these days. We spend a lot of time in our caves. And so when we go outside, we have to get dressed up and put our jackets on and all that stuff. So I'm here. I'm glad to be here. Todd Lee has just arrived as well. Holy. Yes, you missed the breathing, Todd. I did too. I was indisposed, as they say. Loretta, I miss Alvai. I don't know. Maybe typo? Or maybe I just don't understand. Lauren, I did outdoor work for a few years and would share my lunch with several chipmunks. They would sit beside me and cheer me up during the long days. Forever a friend of the monks. Yes, I always try to spell it, and I spell it wrong. I spell it chipmunk, M-O-N-K, because they're monk-like. They're monk-like creatures. And Lauren has this incredible video that he sent me, only for bats, though. He is a night owl, and he made this video about, I can't even describe it. Maybe at some point after it goes around to the film festivals or something, he will play the video for us. He is also a comedian as well. Thank you, Loretta. It's much clearer now. I miss Alvin and the Chipmunks. She spells it with an O as well, just like me. I like it because, I've been reading a book, Think Like a Monk. Think Like a Monk. It's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it to people. I'm on page 2 because I'm a slow reader. But, monks don't care. They don't care how fast you read. Yes, Loretta. There we go. Some feedback from the audience. And bats love feedback from the audience because we are very lonely. And I don't want to say, I don't want to, tell you a sob story, but I've been spending a lot of time alone in a cave. And, but because of it, I have used the Zoom quite a bit. And I have developed these techniques to help you in your Zoom meetings because we are very advanced now. It used to be like, how do you turn on the microphone? How do I make myself look better? No, these are not those kind of techniques. If you want that, that's for the 101, for the people just starting out with the Zoom. But now, after 10 months of Zooming with everybody, we need some advanced techniques, right? Some way to survive. And I think I've got it for you. Todd Lee says, ooh, the bat is live and not pre-recorded. That's what you thought, right? You thought, how could the bat be there? Some people think that the bat and the Joel Marshall are the same people. It's some kind of weird theory that they have. But I've seen them together. I've seen me, and I've seen Joel and I hang out in the real world. Joel and I are always hanging out. We're like besties. What is your favorite blood type? O positive. I love O positive. It tastes like candy. And what is the biggest bouquet and notes? The best bouquet and notes. Oh, yes, that's right. O positive. It's delicious. Some people don't like it because it's too sweet. Some people like AB negative. That's very, I guess, strong. It's got a dry kind of taste to it. I better get on with the Zoom techniques. Joel and the bat are besties. Yes, we are. We are very, very tight friends. He hasn't had me on the show very much lately, and it's sort of a little bit irritating. But, I can't see very well because my cowl is something's wrong with it. I don't know. Let's get on with it, though. You don't care. Okay, number 11. Oh, no, now I'm too tall. This happens to me all the time. Turn your laptop upside down and use a ton of hair gel to make your hair stick straight up. Then pretend you are doing the meeting upside down due to doctor's recommendations as you've been sitting too much. See if anyone else does it too. These are long. These top 11s are long, so we better start moving. That's the first technique that I have. Second technique, number 10. See how long you can go without washing your hair and see if anyone ever notices this. After putting all that hair gel in, it should be pretty obvious. That's from the one before. That's what they call In comedy, they call it a callback. A callback. We'll be learning more about that on Friday, I think. Loretta says, does Joel have the same sleeping habits as the bat? I do. I do have the same sleeping habits as Joel. Joel and the bat. From what I understand, Joel doesn't sleep at all. He's like a night person and a day person, and he's in the lunch person. He's just not a morning person. That's what I know. Joel is so grumpy in the morning. Don't tell him that I told you that. He's very, very grumpy. All right, moving on. Number 9. Let's see of these techniques of mine. Oh, that's number 11. I don't know how to work this thing. Keep telling anyone who will listen that Zoom is killing society while you secretly enjoy your elasticated waistband and lumpen lifestyle. I like that. If anybody has some more that they want to add, since I only have 11, and I have a couple of meerkats here. I'm a big fan of the meerkats. I don't know about y'all, but I love meerkats. Love me some meerkats. Let's move on. 8. Film yourself sitting at your desk, looking interested and nodding occasionally, taking notes. Upload this video, loop it, and play it during the Zoom meetings while you eat potato chips, lie on the floor, playing with your cats. I prefer to hang from the ceiling and play with my cats. They have their little paws, and they hang. Just like the poster that used to be around that said, "Hang in there, baby." I don't know if you remember that, but I do. Quackos and meerkats. Oh man, the gray one looks like he's into Norwegian black metal. Yeah, he likes the makeup. He's very much like I am. He loves makeup. Sven says, your foreign accent reminds me of when you were playing foreigner and I was playing American at the Seattle Center. You're shouting borscht all the time. I like that. I like that memory, little memories. But I think you're talking about Joel, because I've never yelled borscht at the Seattle Center. But I think Joel, I think he did that on a ride. I think it was called the Matterhorn at the village, some kind of village. He talks about it all the time. He's always talking about Seattle and the stupid enchanted forest there. He is just, don't tell him I told you that, because he loves that kind of stuff. Sven, Pam says, blow profusely on your coffee cup filled with vodka so everyone thinks you are cooling your coffee. I like it. So there's another one. Thank you. Now people are really joining in. Since we have more, I better get it moving. 7, create a fun Zoom day drinking game. See, Pam would like this. Keeping all your alcohol out of view, note how many times your boss touches their face, sneezes, picks their nose, or yawns. Reward yourself with a little sip when they do any of these things. Pam would probably take a big sip. She can really hold her liquor. Record the meeting in a Zoom, then later edit it to create a hilarious deepfake. Change all your co-workers' faces to those of the Avengers. Post on YouTube. There you go. I'm moving along now to number 5. Soak your feet in hot water. Your little feet. And no one will be the wiser. But don't try anything else. Remember the poor guy from the New Yorker. Yes, that was a very sad tale. I don't know if you know about that, but that was... I'm not going to repeat that here on Lunch Therapy. Yes, the game. I like 2 sips. She likes 2 sips. I'm going to keep my camera off because of bandwidth issues. Yes, that's a very good one. I've got that here coming in the list. Number 4. If the meeting involves giving you more work, that really belongs to someone else. Keep asking them to... Oh, no. I messed this one up. Keep asking them to explain themselves. Shake your head and sadly say, "No, I cannot hear you. Leave the meeting later. Blame it on their internet connection. Yes, if you want to really make someone mad in a Zoom meeting, tell them that their internet connection is horrible. Just say, it's so horrible. It's because it's the modern way to shame people. Yeah. That's, if you're into that shaming people and making them feel bad, that's what you do. Sorry, I got a little too into it because, I'm actually a very nice bat. And I wouldn't do that to anybody. Well, maybe once, maybe Pam Palmieri, I would do it. It had a happy ending. That story did. The man at the New Yorker, I don't know how happy that was. Happy endings are the best. Yes. Let's move on. 3. Carefully study your boss's background and over time, keep making yours more and more like theirs until it's exactly the same. And then you can act like you and your boss are like in the same place. And people will wonder. People will be like, hey, is the bat moved in with the boss? What's going on here? Lauren says, my connection is stronger than yours. Yes, it's the new my dad can beat up your dad. My interconnection is so strong, I can have 2 Zoom meetings and watch Netflix at the same time. And watch lunch therapy. All right, now number 2. I just want to tell you how happy I am to be here today. And how happy I am to see you all here. And, maybe you can tell Joel that there's not enough bat on the show because, I've got to pay for my health insurance because this is America, right? No more Yankee my wanky. The donger need food. It's just no one wants to hear that thought. No one wants to hear you say that. 2. Carefully analyze everyone's background. Again, the backgrounds, especially if it's real. Zoom in on the books, on the shelves, to glean more information. Note the decorating style for clues about their personal lives. Write an expose about their personal life, and don't change any names. That's brilliant. And then make $1 million. And then you can quit your job. You can quit your job after that. And, make enough to pay for the lawsuits. Number 1. Oh, then I didn't do the drum. Number 1. Oh, the drum is not happening very well. I mean, really loud. I like a loud drum. Loud drum. There it is. Number 1. That was super anticlimactic after all that. Pin someone on screen who is not talking and spy on them throughout the entire meeting. Yes, that's one of my favorite ones. It's legal so far. So far, it's legal to pin someone, just watch them the whole time. And then maybe later you can send them a message saying, why did you eat that? What were you doing with that? Meerkat comes from Dutch, just like wildebeest, and aardvark, literally translated lake cat. Lake cat. Oh, that was very helpful. Let's bring on the meerkats to look at that. Thank you, Sven, for that interesting information. All right, everybody, this has been my new Top 11 The Bat segment. Thank you, Joel, for letting me come on the show. And we could play the outro music. There we go. And we're moving back to Joel here. I know you're like, oh, so boring, Joel, compared to The Bat. But, it's his show. Matt says, pretend that you are on a Peloton during the meeting. Yeah, that's a good one. Or maybe even be on a Peloton. Oh, but that would take a lot of effort. All right, moving on. We are now going on to look at some animals. I don't know what Joel has found, but here he is. What did the bat do? What are these meerkats doing here? Hey there, what? Jeez, I'd leave the show for a minute and all of a sudden we're infested with meerkats. I don't know if any of you know, but a couple weeks ago I was about to start the show, and apparently these meerkats had gotten in and completely destroyed my hard drive. So I'm hoping that's not going to happen now. These guys seem pretty cool. I don't know how to get rid of them. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. Maybe we can just, watch some videos here, and hopefully they will go away. I don't want to really bother them. How about, okay, let's look at this. So the first thing that I have to show you is an otter, and it is an otter seeing a cow for the first time. So this is kind of a longer video, but we won't watch the whole thing. But I just wanted to, I like it when animals, are presented with things that they have never seen before. And then they have a reaction like, you can see what their reaction is, because they're very much like, they're a lot like babies. How babies are like, oh, wow, when they get excited. And we've totally tamped that down. We don't get excited at all, even if it's the most exciting thing in the world. One time I took both of my cats, to the beach, and I had them in the little box, the little cat box. And I put that down on the beach, and I opened it up, and the cats were so freaked out. They couldn't even function. They just were like frozen, and they kind of were like, why did you blow my entire reality like this by showing me this vast ocean? They had never seen anything like it. And I haven't taken them since, because they don't exactly beg to go to the beach. Maybe if they were a dog, huh? Dogs are better? I don't know. Let's hear in the chat room, which are better, dogs or cats? Anybody know? Have you seen a cat see a cucumber? No. Is there a video of that? I know there are videos of monkeys seeing magic. That's one of my favorite. They're just like, they make the thing, and I mean, it's pretty cool. This is the otter. Okay, yes, the otter world. Oh yeah, the monkeys see magic are good. This otter is, where is this otter? Let's see if I can see. It's the page called Atty, A-T-Y, and this guy has pet otter or something. I'm gonna get to the cow viewing part here, because it's too cute. Go over to Atty, check out their page. They have this otter. It hangs out. It's like, it's as friendly as a bat, really. Earth is an animal house. Well, that was one thing I wanted to talk to you all about. Let's watch this thing. Look at the cows. He's like, whoa. Is that, what? Let me take another look at that thing. He said, put me down on the ground so I can see this thing. Oh, wow. You see that? That thing's huge. Where's his... Oh. Anyway. Don't show Mole the cucumber gal. She'll leave you for the produce section at Whole Foods. Oh dear. I'm not even touch that one. This is another otter, and of course, I can't help myself with this. I think I've got an addiction to watching animals play with pumpkins. I know. It's sort of, I guess this is a confession of mine, is that animals playing with pumpkins, man. Recess at the dairy, yeah. They love that. The otters love the cows. Look at the monkey. There's a monkey with a pumpkin. Okay, I'm gonna get out of this soon. This is the San Diego Zoo. Beautiful zoo. Again, otters and pumpkins. Okay, so it's getting a little pumpkin-y in here. Getting a little ottery. One of the things that I'm going to talk about today is the Earth and the Earth sphere, but I don't know if I'm going to get to it. because the bat took up so much time with his top 11 list, we may never get to the title of the show. And I don't know what a group of jaguarundi are called. I think that would be a very difficult thing to find out. Impossible. Maybe they're called a recess. They could be. Has anybody ever seen a jaguarundi? Look at this, is a cute little baby one. Like a really mad, dangerous otter rolled in coffee grounds. Yeah, so they are various colors. No, there are 2 different colors. I don't know. Is that various? There's two different colors. They come in red or black. Yeah, that's all you get. And that's one of the things about them too, is their coat is very, monocolored, which a lot of times they have, spots and things like that. Moving on. There's too many jaguarundi going on here to get to in one day. I cannot do it. I got to move on from the jaguarundi. Oh, there's a rescue. There's a rescue jaguarundi being adorable. You can check that out anytime you want at Natty's Adventures. I don't know what Natty's doing, but Natty's seeing some cool stuff out there, which I love jaguarundi. I don't know. This is the penguin exhibit in the Kansas City Zoo, and the weird thing about this is it's live. This is a live show looking at a live penguin exhibit in Kansas City. I don't know if they ever turn out the lights there, though. I posted a thing saying, do they ever turn out the lights? And I wonder because, maybe this time of year where penguins are from, maybe it's light all the time. I don't know. Apart from lions, wildcats are solitary creatures. Interesting. Yeah, the jaguarundi, they kind of live by themselves. They're not super social. They might have like a mate or something, but other than that, they're not, doing Zoom meetings all the time. They're just not that into it. All right, I got to move on. Okay, we'll just talk a little bit about Groundhog Day, because I know it's kind of a big thing. And, we did have Stephen Tobolowsky on the show talking about the movie Groundhog Day. And this has been kind of a groundhog year, but this is not a groundhog at all. This is a beaver, Filbert the beaver, but he also makes weather forecasts and decides if we're going to have more winter. Every year he does this at the Oregon Zoo. It looks a little like Survivor, and whichever one he picks, it's not a shadow thing. It's whatever one he picks is the one that is. And I think this is, I don't know. It seemed kind of rigged because it was the closest one to him that he picked. And she says, yeah, we're going to have 6 weeks more of winter. A group of jaguarundis is called a jaguarundi because there's only one of them. That is so astute. And then one more thing. Punxsutawney Phil this year, Punxsutawney Phil, was done virtually. Yeah, it was a virtual experience, just like everything else. I don't know. They had to wear pants, though, because clearly they're showing their legs. But Punxsutawney Phil came out. This is live. This was live. This is the live broadcast. And they, yanked this poor thing out of the stump. Bring him out there. And as many of you know, because I think the bat maybe told you, I don't know. Somebody spoiler alerted this whole thing. But just like the beaver in Oregon, Punxsutawney Phil, I don't know, saw his shadow and went back in. He was like, screw this, man. This sucks. Are you guys still in lockdown? What the hell is going on here? You guys get that figured out. I'm going to go back down. When I come out, I want that handled. I want it taken care of. Hear me? See, there he is telling all of them. They're like, okay, we'll try. Only some of us have masks on, though. Oh, no. All right, so now back to the show. Or no, this is the show. We're moving on. We're moving on to the end of the show. I thank you all for joining me on this weird one. I'm getting so used to now having people on the show with me that doing the show by myself feels weird. But I'm glad you all are here. because we're learning some stuff. So don't have much time. I don't know why I don't have much time, but we've got people have to get on with their lives. Muscatani Phil fans. Muscatani Phil. I don't even know how to spell it. I just saw it. I still don't know how to spell it. I'll have to wait another year to see it again. But what is this behind me? So what I wanted to say was that, it's February, right? It's been almost a year that I've been on my compound just here, and I'm following things very closely because I'd like this thing to go away, this virus thing. Not that I mention it on the show ever. Phil's cousin, Cold Shoulder Carl. Yeah. So so I was starting to feel like I'm in some kind of an experiment. I don't know if y'all are feeling that way, but yesterday I don't know, man. I was super, super depressed. I was super depressed yesterday. I don't know why. Maybe because my world is sort of upside down, and because I can't go anywhere, and there's nothing, very few things to look forward to except for lunch therapy and of course, the landing of the spaceship on Mars, the rover, the Perseverance. I've got that to look forward to. I also have the Theater of Note performance of The Ravages, theaterofnote.com/The Ravages. We have that to look forward to. But what else? We can't go skiing. Well, some people are skiing, but I can't. You're not alone, Joel. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, I think a lot of us are feeling like this is super weird and restrictive, and some of us are rebelling against it, and some of us are just becoming more and more introverted. I've been thinking about that movie. It keeps coming into my head, Biodome, with Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin. And, I like Pauly Shore. I think he's basically running the Comedy Store when it's back up and running, I think. Was it raining in LA? Yeah, when I was bumming out. No, I tend to get happy when it rains. Yes, we look forward to lunch therapy. I do too. It's great having this community. But we have to go out of state for fun. Before I, get us all in the doldrums, I want to talk about this thing that I found out about. And I don't know if you know about this, but I heard, there was this weird movie in the 90s, Biodome, and it was about these people living in an enclosed environment, like they were astronauts or something like that. And they couldn't leave, and they had to sustain their environment. And I thought, that's a funny movie. It's a little bit like The Martian. But I looked a little bit more into it, and I found out this was a real thing. There were people that lived in this facility out in the Arizona desert near Tucson for like 2 years. So I read up on it, and it was like some kind of experiment, and it was basically so they could someday we could populate Mars with meerkats, and we had to actually put meerkats into an environment, not just meerkats, of course, but hummingbirds and humans, and for some reason we feel this desire to go populate Mars. I don't know why. I think that we're kind of screwing up this one here, and that's why this was built. And it's called Biosphere 2. And the big question always is, why is it called Biosphere 2? Where's Biosphere 1? And they're like, we're living in it. Earth is Biosphere 1. And so, we're kind of screwing up Biosphere 1. Why do we need to build a Biosphere 2? But anyway, they did it. And I thought, well, these people are a little nuts. And where's the lunch? It's summer. Summer will be better. I like this. I'm just reading the comments here before we get into more Biosphere 2. Joel in the future will be chilling with the weasel again. They like this power. They don't want us to work. They don't want us to work. Interesting. I don't know who they are. I think they might be us because we're kind of messing it up, right? We're kind of messing it up. So that's what happened with Biosphere 2. So the more I read about it, they built this thing out in the desert. There were basically two guys. There's a guy named John P. Allen, who was the visionary who saw this whole thing through to the end. And then there was a guy named Ed Bass who paid for it. He was like a billionaire, but he was like a good guy, apparently. Their family had made all this. Not that billionaires are not good guys, but this particular one, he was concerned about the environment. So he thought if they made Biosphere 2, we could find out more about how our ecosystem works on a kind of a less macro level. So they built this thing. They put 8 people in there, 4 women, 4 men, put them in there. This was like in the early 90s, and they had to live there for 2 years, and they were volunteers. So, I read up about this, and I'm like, this is weird. I wonder how that went. Seems like it might even be kind of easy, right? But it wasn't. It wasn't. They had one pyramid shape that had like the desert in it. They had another one. They had these two big pyramids with like 90-foot tall ceilings. And then they also had an ocean, a small ocean that they had built. It was pretty serious. They had these geodesic domes that were not actually livable, but they were just the lungs of the place. And the whole place was made of glass, as you can see. And the reason they made it of glass is so that the sun could come in and they could plant their plants, because they got no oxygen from the outside. They couldn't, it was as if they were on Mars. They were living just like they were on Mars. Well, except that they had the sun on Mars. Marshall, what's your problem, Marshall? Hope lunch therapy lasts into the post-COVID era. That's great. I like that too. I like that idea too. Who knew it would go on so long? They don't want us to go to school. They just want us to age out. We're not aging out. We're living in our biospheres. Who is the they? Right. We get into that conversation of who is the they. There's no they. They is us. Us is they. This is going to end when they caught the breatharian guy eating Twinkies. Yeah, so I don't know if y'all know about this, but this is the craziest experiment. And so they lived there for 2 years, and they volunteers. But then I got really into it. You know how you look at something and on the surface, so weird stuff happened in there, and I'll tell you about it. But you know how you look at the surfacey thing, you're like, wow, these people, these volunteers, they came and they lived in this biosphere, but they weren't this just didn't happen. Just like, oh, this is going to be some science experiment that we're going to do. Let's get this rich billionaire to pay for it. No, this started in the 60s. In the 60s, there was a group of people that were like hippies, and they called themselves the Synergistics. And they were a theater company. Like, of course it starts with a theater company. It either always starts with yoga or a theater company. And this happened to be a theater company. Like those nice people I had on Monday from the Theater of Note. Yeah, the ones we were hanging out with on Monday. That's what this started like. It's like if Theater Note was like, hey, let's go build a boat. So there was one guy who was super smart. And that's the John P. Allen guy. And he was kind of the leader of this thing. And it got a little cultish. And they started all living together, hanging out together, and they built a boat, a gigantic boat, like a ship. And they got in it, and they had it pulled out into the bay in San Francisco, because they were like, we're sick of San Francisco. It's boring here. They got in this ship. This seems odd, doesn't it? And they sailed all around the world. And apparently they were entrepreneurs, and they started businesses in all these different places, just different things like hotels. They also continue to put on plays. They had like this touring play company. They would write plays, whatever they could do to make money, but they always were looking towards like making it sustainable. So they kept building, all these different businesses all over. And they went everywhere. There's a movie about this. But they got more and more ambitious as they went along. And eventually, you can watch the movie to find out how it all played out. But eventually they were like, hey, let's have these conferences in like France where we'll get a whole bunch of people together, a bunch of smart people together, and talk about the environment and the world and how we can make the world better. And they would pick different ecosystems, different environments like the desert or the mountains. And finally they had done a lot of different environments. And finally they were just like, hey, what about the whole world? And they got into these discussions. And they finally realized, hey, let's make our own test world. What's your problem, Marshall? I'm a martial artist. There's a lot going on in the chat room here. Let's just check it out before I get into this. I can't get too far into it, but because we got to go. Don't we have an anniversary show coming up? Can we watch you eating some Zankou chicken? I'm thinking about becoming a vegetarian after all this stuff, after all these animals. There was a movie called Biodome, right? Pauly Shore, Stephen Baldwin. I don't know if it was a very scientific movie. I think it was just them goofing. People defer to theater. Not battery acid, just Kool-Aid. You know what the thing is about theater, and I'm just going to say this. The theater and movies and entertainment a lot of times project things into the future that actual scientists see, and they go, I think I can make that work. An example is the movie Silent Running. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Silent Running, and that was back in the day. And it was a spaceship where they had basically Biosphere on it. There was a guy on a big Biosphere and all these animals, and all these plants and animals, and it was like the last living remains of the Earth, I guess. And he needed to keep it going, and it was an incredible movie. I totally recommend that you watch Silent Running. But these people who made the Biodome, they saw that movie and they were like, we could do that. And maybe one day when we do colonize some other planet, we'll already have learned a lot about how we can live there and how we can make the environment better. But obviously the point is Biosphere 1. We have to work on that first. So they've learned a lot. So anyway, so the two people, the people that went into this thing, some of them were in the theater company. Some of them were not. One guy was a doctor, a very eccentric doctor who really believed in limiting his caloric intake, and that would make him live longer. And he was just like ripped guy, but very, very gaunt already going into it. And which seems like a bad idea. Because if you're going to go into a place where you have to grow your own food, I would think go to Costco and just shove down some carbs, get a good girth going before you go into that thing. Store away some nuts like the chipmunks before you go in there. But he was like all lean. He already looked like the guy in the back of the Curiosity Center, ye old Curiosity shop. I'm obsessed with that, by the way. Anyway, ignore that. They go in there. Immediately what happens within a couple months, one of the women puts her hand into a piece of farming equipment, a thresher, and chops her finger off. And they were like, what are we going to do? She can't leave. The doctor said he couldn't really handle it. So they decided that she could leave, but she wasn't allowed to eat anything when she was out. And then she could come back. So then when she came back, it was a huge event. This was like all over the news. You could go there and look through the window at these people like they were zoo animals or something. She came back, she had 2 duffel bags. And they were like, what's with the duffel bags? And she went in there. And as you can imagine, it became more and more corrupt as it went along. And what really, the worst part about it, because I've got to go, but the worst part about it was the oxygen levels started dropping tremendously. And they couldn't figure out what it was. And what it turned out was some of the soil that they had put in there, some of the organic soil, had microbes in it that were putting out a lot of carbon dioxide, eating up all the oxygen in there. And then also the concrete that they had used to build some of the enclosure was also sucking all the oxygen out of the air. And they didn't know it, but they all of a sudden were like, I don't feel so good. They were like, I walk up the stairs and they get all dizzy. And they couldn't, the doctor said that he couldn't think straight. He couldn't do basic math after a while. So they had to cheat. They had to pump oxygen in there. Yeah. And so it was kind of a failed experiment, but it made this super cool place that still exists today. And I was going to show you some of it, but there's no way I'm going to. No way I can get to that. But also, they tried to do it another time. And immediately, when the next people got in there, two of the people from the previous experiment broke the windows and went in there and tried to rescue them and ruined the whole thing. Why would that happen? I don't know why that would happen. See, that's the thing is people just, Neil, people can be pretty stupid. You're right about that. People love their ideas performed on the stage. This is back to what I was talking about. Hair, Age of Aquarius. Bruce Dern, right, starred in Silent Running. Great movie. I highly recommend that. And I also highly recommend the movie about the Biosphere 2. I can't think of what the movie's called. First appearance of Tenacious D was in Biodome. Whoa. Well, that was worth it right there. And then I have one more comment here. So yeah, camping with 4 others, 73 on the Columbia River tourist boat. Sees us like we're Robinson Crusoe. So to make a long story short, we can't handle it. We cannot handle the world that we're on. We got to really get ourselves together. Now they use this. They gave it to the University of Arizona, and they still fund it. And it's right now they learn all kinds of things in there. There's a website. I'll show you that, and then I'll go because this is way too long. Biosphere 2. There's a website, and there are all kinds of cool videos. I highly recommend checking it out. And maybe, someday when the world gets itself back together, we'll all go to Biosphere 2 and hang out. Great lighting. Dustin Hoffman. I don't know. Oh, Contagion. Oh, that's a totally different thing. Joel, have you or the Bat been to the Integration? I think you should do a show about that for fun. Bat at Integration. You got it, Pam. I don't even know what it is. But sometimes my brain doesn't work because the oxygen level in this biosphere really gets to be Bucky Fuller House. All right. We're moving on. Dance break. This has been fun. Thanks for investigating the biosphere with me. What arises for me is that they tried to create the perfect biosphere but failed because of small details in the system. Shows how little we understand Biosphere 1. Well, that is the thing, too, that I've got to say is they all started fighting with one another. That's the other thing. They broke, this is just, I have to say this, they broke into 2 factions. And these were people who were friends with one another, They were friends. And they broke into 2 different factions, and they kind of blew it because they couldn't get along. You see? They could not get along, and when people can't get along and they can't make decisions, then you're screwed. Especially if the people who are running the Earth ship, right? And I just wanted to say one other thing. I wanted to end this with this quote that I have from George Orwell. Let's see if I can call it up here. George Orwell, this is from one of George Orwell's books. The world is a raft sailing through space with potentially plenty of provisions for everybody. The idea that we must all cooperate and see to it that everyone does his fair share of the work and gets his fair share of the provisions seems so blatantly obvious that one would say that no one could possibly fail to accept it unless he had some corrupt motive for clinging to the present system. So I'm going to leave you with that. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Sven. Appreciate you being here. It's great to have the Belgian presence. We're moving on to dance break. picture. There I am. It's dance break time. I have these fantastic guys from Australia. Of course, they're from Australia. They're doing some cool... I've had them on here before. They're guitarists. And here they are. Opal Ocean. This is a cover of something called Hanuman. Which to me, Hanuman is a monkey god. I'm just riffing. Opal Ocean. Thanks, Furnace. Felt your heart beating. Yeah, it's pretty serious stuff. The earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. Yep. This is from their album 1111. Thanks, Danielle. These guys are awesome. Take care, Lauren. All right, and we're out of here. See you on Friday for an interview with Stephen Rosenfield, the American Comedy Institute.